It's Hugo and Jake, they're coming to take a look at the Quran. So make no mistake, it's gonna be great, delivering more than comedy, that's what they wanna be. But honestly, it's fact from fiction, leaving lasting hits. When Hugo and Jake take faith and illustrate contradictions, create apostates to be great. Atheists make people who believe see the world in a different way. What's on the episode today? Take it away, Hugo and Jake. Loving the way they're splitting the fact from the fake, attempting to make those who hold faith reevaluate and wake up. But they just stay stuck and haters wait and stay in place, no time to waste. The Quran reloaded with Hugo and Jake.
Hello everyone, I'm Hugo.
What show is this?
This is the Quran Reloaded. It has been 2 months.
It looks weird in here.
I know, things changed. So, today we're back to read more of the Quran. Don't worry, the show should be back on schedule now. Maybe we'll hit a couple of weeks of hiccup, but, you know, the show's not gone. So, advertise...
Dead channel.
I get it. But today we're going to continue our study of the 5th surah. We're going to be beginning in verse 14. So, everyone crack open your Qurans.
Just...
and just poof of dust. Get ready to dive back in. It's just as bad as you remember. And from those who say, we are Christians, we received their pledge, but they neglected some of what they were reminded of. So we provoked enmity and hatred among them until the day of resurrection. God will then inform them of what they used to craft. So... there's now Christians going about and they're saying, well, the Christians aren't really following what God really wants anymore. That's why the Muslims are coming about and they're going to be a thing. So we're going to throw the Christians into disarray. Haha, pocket sand. Until the day of resurrection.
No, it's Shashaw.
Shashaw, pocket sand. On the day of resurrection in which Jesus will show up and say, na 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 boo boo, you Christians are wrong. Ha.
That didn't rhyme.
I didn't say it. He's
He's
Jesus.
supposed to
He
be
doesn't.
na boo boo. Stick your head in doo doo.
He's Jesus. It rhymes now. Once he says it, it rhymes. So, yeah. Look forward to that, Christians, I guess.
I remember writing a paper specifically. I forget what class it was, but I had this old guy. You ever been in a college class where it's like you have an old guy that doesn't need college, he just goes there, and he was really, really Republican-y, right-wingy, but he was like, at the time, it was a more innocent time. It was like, yeah, George Bush is a great president. We were like, nah, I disagree. It wasn't like this. So I intentionally wrote a paper about the commonalities between Islam and Christianity. And this verse came up because it on the day of resurrection, blah, 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 you're doing it wrong, Muslims are better. I remember bringing up the fact that like Islam was created because basically their argument in it was, you're not doing it right, we're going to do it better. And I remember that guy being really mad at me. It made me really happy. And I don't remember that guy's fucking name, but I hope he died.
He probably did.
Good.
He's almost certainly dead now. Or a proud Trump voter.
I didn't go to school that long ago. It was like one of those 5-6 years.
I know. In my head, he's morbidly obese, so...
No.
Aww.
No, he was, it looked like he worked with his hands his whole life.
Oh, okay.
In the factories.
He'll die young then, that's good.
He's got the black lung.
He worked in a plant his whole life. He doesn't even know how he got it. O people of the book, our messengers have come to you, clarifying for you much of what you kept hidden of the book, and overlooking much. A light from God has come to you, and a clear book. God guides with it whoever follows his approval to the ways of peace, and he brings them out of darkness into light, his permission, and he guides them in a straight path.
Did the Quran just call themselves a clear book? And, like, throw a little shade at the Jewish texts?
Yes, they're saying, if you would just listen to us, everything would be working out great for you guys. So please come listen to us.
Because our book isn't muddled with all those begats. And, I don't know, other things that are confusing.
I'd like to think Islam started because they were just sick of all the, and Shem begat blank, and begat blank, and they're like, okay, there's a little too much of this. Can we get to the stabbing? And the rules about how women are half as much as men.
Yeah, that was literally chapter 4 of this book.
Yeah.
That don't take long. That's not even like the climax. That's not even second act.
Inciting incident at best. They disbelieve those who say God is Christ, the Son of Mary, say, Who can prevent God, if he willed, from annihilating the Christ, son of Mary, and his mother, and everyone on earth? To God belongs the sovereignty of the heavens and the earth and what is between them. He creates whatever he wills, and God has the power to do everything. So their argument there is, couldn't God just destroy Jesus anytime he wanted? Therefore, he's not equal to God. Therefore, your argument's flawed. Trinity is bullshit. It's not the worst argument I've heard against the Trinity. The Trinity is such an ethereal, like, bullshit, it's whatever we want to say it is in the moment concept. Yeah. It's hard to argue against anyway. It's like shadow boxing. You're not really hitting anything, so it's hard to land.
That is a neat thought experiment, though, for specifically Catholic, because they're more about the Trinity than anyone else. Can God destroy Jesus? And if so, does that make Jesus God? But can Jesus defend himself against being destroyed? Like, can he, like, do some, like...
Can God be of two minds or three minds about things if he is a Trinity? Can he disagree? These are things you would need to talk about if you wanted a consistent religious canon.
Decent argument, Quran. Decent argument.
I'd assume different sects have different answers, but... yeah.
I'm surprised that the Quran's, like, got a zinger.
Religions are real good at pointing out flaws in other religions. They just never take that perception and point it inwards.
Oh, man, it's so good when you have... we were actually at a debate once. Do you remember this?
We've moderated a few. So.
Well, there was a Christian, an atheist, and a guy from Islam.
Oh, yes.
And they basically debated, and the Christian and the Muslim guy kind of went at it a little bit, and it was kind of funny to sit back and go, you're both right about each other.
We can all be right. Yeah. The Jews and the Christians say, we are the children of God and his beloved. Say, why then does he punish you for your sins? In fact, you are humans from among those he created. He forgives whom he wills, and he punishes whom he wills. To God belongs the dominion of the heavens and the earth, and what lies between them, and to him is their return. So they're essentially saying, you're not God's people, all people are God's people, you're just misbehaving, so you're not any special group. Anyone who is a Muslim, by their definition, a Muslim is someone who follows the word of Allah,
right.
God, Yahweh. So they're saying, follow us, and anyone can be God's people.
Except the gays.
Except the gays.
And anyone that is not them.
Yes. It's about as progressive as they could get at the time.
As progressive. Anyone except all of you. It's like when Gerald Ford came out with the Model T, and they asked, like, what colors can you get it? And Gerald Ford replied, you can get it in any color you want, as long as it's black.
You mean Henry Ford?
Henry Ford, not Gerald. That was Gerald.
And then he went off.
Little tot Gerald.
And then he went off to say, I'm going to pardon a criminal someday. Hooray!
Gerald Ford, fuck me.
Nailed it. O people of the book, our messenger has come to you, making things clear to you, after a cessation of messengers, so that you cannot say no preacher has come to us, no warner. In fact, a preacher has come to you, and a warner, and God is capable of everything.
Why did that just tack that up?
Oh, and by the way, my dad could beat up your dad.
I actually had that conversation in my life. Have you?
No, I haven't.
I have actually had that.
I
was literally like, my dad could not beat your dad up.
Adolf Hitler could be in a fight with my dad, and I'd be like, yeah, after this, I'm probably going to try and do something to Hitler, but I really hope Hitler beats the shit out of my dad.
I feel like your dad might just throw up a Heil and call
he
it.
would. Yeah. When Moses said to his peoples, O people, remember God's blessings upon you, when he placed prophets among you and made you kings and gave you what he never gave away other people. O my people, enter the holy, which God has assigned for you, and do not turn back, lest ye return as losers.
Oh, you couldn't help it.
Nope. They said, Oh, Moses, there are tyrannical people in it. We will not enter it until they leave it. If they leave it, we will be entering. 2 men of those who feared, but whom God had blessed, said, Go to them by the gate, and when you have entered it, you will prevail, and put your trust in God if you are believers. They said, Oh, Moses, we will not enter it ever, as long as they are in it. So go ahead, you and the Lord, and fight. We're staying right here. So you're not getting what's going on. They're going like, there are people in there. And Moses is like, yeah, go. And they're like, they're corrupt. And they're like, Yeah, you go. And Moses is like, no, you go. So that's why it's all repeaty. He said, my lord, I have control over only myself and my brother, so separate between us and between the wicked people. He said, it is forbidden for them for 40 years. They will wander aimlessly in the land, so do not grieve over the defiant people. This is just a retelling of the story in the Bible when they had just escaped Egypt. They ran away from Egypt with all the plunder they had gotten because God had hardened Pharaoh's heart and whatnot. And they had them go look at the land that they had been promised, the land of milk and honey, air quotes. And according to them, there were like giant people living there, like literal giants.
Yeah.
And they were too afraid to go in.
Yep.
And because of their cowardice, God banned them. And that's why they wandered for 40 years. They weren't lost. I don't like jokes about like, oh, you were lost for 40 years. They weren't lost. God was saying, no, you wander for 40 years and be nomadic people until I say. It was exile from any permanent home, basically.
I have fond memories of Exodus.
Yeah, I miss it too.
They visited. I forget what they were called. They had an actual tribe, not the Nephilim. I don't think they were called the Nephilim, but they peeked over a hill and there was giants. They're like, "Fuck that!" And he comes back with intel and he's like, "Yeah, that's just craziness." Although we did argue at the time that maybe and probably that sounded like a lie not to go to war.
Yeah, I believe in the story. There's also like giant fruit.
That sounds more like something you learned from Bible study. I don't remember that.
Yeah. That's probably the case. And relate to them the true story of Adam's 2 sons, when they offered an offering, and it was accepted from one of them, but it was not accepted from the other.
Cain and Able.
Yeah, Cain and Able. He said, I will kill you. He said, God accepts only from the righteous. If you extend your hand to kill me, I will not extend my hand to kill you. I fear God, Lord of the worlds. None of this dialogue was in the original story.
Okay, so the original Cain and Able, if you don't watch our Bible study, which you ought to, was Cain offered a vegetable sacrifice to God, and Abel offered a meat sacrifice.
Because Abel was a shepherd, Cain was a farmer.
Correct.
They gave both of which what they had.
Yeah, which would seem like a decent idea, but God at the time wanted the fat of lambs and shit like that more often. He liked the smell or whatever. I don't know why a god would even have olfactory nerves. It doesn't matter. Being like, nah, I don't want that shit. And then Cain was like, well, fuck that. I'm going to murder this guy then. So that there's only one option. And then you have to accept my sacrifice. Whacked him over the head with a rock or some shit. And now that was the first murder, I guess.
Yep. Relayed differently here.
A little bit.
Then his soul prompted him to kill his brother, so he killed him, and became one of the losers.
Whoa!
Yeah. Then God sent a raven digging the ground to show him how to cover his brother's corpse. He said, yeah, that's a later edition.
Okay.
Woe to me, I was unable to be like this raven and bury my brother's corpse, so he became full of regrets. He said it was a shallow grave, too much for him. You should have watched the movie Holes with Shia LaBeouf.
LaBeouf.
Yeah, they had to dig 5x5 holes every day.
That seems like too much work. That seems like way too much work.
But it's okay. It was for the children's discipline.
Are you under the impression that Sigourney Weaver is the good guy in Holes?
You take a bad boy, you make him dig holes in the hot sun.
And then he turns into a hole boy.
Because of that, we ordained for the children of Israel that whoever kills another person, unless it is for murder or corruption on earth, it is as if he had killed the whole of mankind.
Oh.
And whoever saves it, it is as if he saved the whole of mankind. Our messengers came to them with clarifications, but even after that, many of them continued to commit excesses in the land. This, of course, I assume all falls under the purview that still women are count as much as half of a man.
Okay, but the math on that is kind of weird, because what if a fireman saves the lives of like 2 or 3 children, but then later on he goes and murders somebody? He's technically up 2 whole world civilizations on the kill.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
He's good.
Yeah, that's fine. All right.
Firemen, serial killers. Just
Firemen
a huge problem.
/ serial killers.
That's why they got rid of firefighters for thousands of years until Ben Franklin figured that shit out again and was like, hey, we should probably
fight fires.
Yeah, but also not let them murder people. Thanks, Ben Franklin, for not murdering firefighters. I hope that makes its way into someone's report on Ben Franklin someday.
If you're writing a report for Ben Franklin in your history class right now, please add the part where he adds not serial killer firefighters, and then credit us in the work cited, and then I expect an angry email from your professor or teacher.
The punishment for those who fight God and his messenger and strive to spread corruption on earth is that they be killed or crucified, or have their hands and feet cut off on opposite sides, or be banished from the land.
Banishment. I choose that. I choose banishment.
I choose banishment.
Okay. Your choices between being mangled, crucified, whatever. Just say you choose mangled. You're still with the people that chose to mangle you. Why not just be like, you know what? I'm just gonna move away. I'm just gonna move out. I'm gonna go out west. Maybe change my hair a little bit. Maybe cut it short like I've always wanted to. Get a dog. Really introspect for a while, and then start a new life.
I'm more impressed that they realized it's probably more inconvenient to have limbs cut off on opposite sides.
Yeah.
So that's the punishment, not like this side or this side. One from here, one from there. You're gonna be thrown the fuck off. Forever. I assume the guy who invented it talked like that for some reason. We're gonna cut him off. He's gonna be all lopsided.
Gonna be all wobbly.
Probably made a joke. It's like, hey, now we can call you Eileen. Yeah. Is your favorite restaurant IHOP? Feel free to use those if you know anyone missing legs. To make fun of their disability. Yeah. So I think that's it for this week. We'll be back to do more Quran.
Yeah, it's also it for our dignity.
No, I already...
That was it for...
long ago.
Oh, okay.
So, you can always follow us on Twitter at Bible Reloaded.
You can follow Hugo at Hugo Reloaded. Also, subscribe to the channel. Because content's coming out.
It will be. You can also subscribe over at Unpopular Culture, where we talk about movies and games and stuff like that. And Patreon, if you want to help support the show, that'd be cool. Because we don't really get ads on TQR at all, because it's very, very controversial content.
We made $20 on it once.
Oh, yeah. That crisp $20 bill split between two people.
That's a $10 bill.
That's a $10
That's
bill.
two crisp $10 bills, which, if we were children, would feel like more money. So it felt like more money.
But now I have a mortgage.
Me too.
Anyway, until next time, I'm Hugo.
Jake.
Bible Reloaded. Quran Reloaded. It's been that long. Damn.
Oh, no.
Oh, we got to start over now.